Hey there, kids, it's your good buddy, Uncle Ben Eller.
I am Ryan Bruce. My friends call me Fluff.
That they do. Wait, you have friends?
So I've been told. I pay for them monthly.
I was going to say, they're on payroll, right?
Yeah.
And we're here at lovely Sweetwater Studios to do a little bit of backstage chatting, because I think that you and I have the unique position of not only being sit-down YouTubers, but stand-up musicians that have done our fair share of touring and live gigging. So I feel like maybe our perspective on things is perhaps a little different than what you see on a lot of YouTube channels, because we have that standing up with the strap, playing in front of human beings experiences. Now, don't we?
We do. I stand up with a guitar occasionally.
Really?
I do.
Wow, that's impressive.
Dude, if I could sit and play a show, like on a stool,
Yeah.
that would be pretty cool.
B.B. King made it work though, man.
You know what?
He did
That's
it.
a great point.
Yeah.
And he's B.B. King.
I don't think either of us are that cool,
No.
but we can try to get there one day.
That would be cool.
And as a result of our touring experiences, I think that we both had our fair share of snafus and gigs that didn't go quite as planned. Yeah. And I think that that's something that a lot of you guys watching at home need to learn about early, because if I could turn back time, Cher style, I'd buy that same bodysuit, obviously.
Sure.
And I would also tell myself, don't get too hooked on any particular piece of gear. Don't become addicted to one thing in your arsenal so you can do your job and play music, because that thing can be gone in an instant, leaving you high and dry. I believe you had an experience like this very recently, didn't you?
Yeah, so I got to go over to Europe.
With what band?
With my band Dragged Under. We got to go over, we got to leave the country for the first time for all of us.
Yeah.
And seeing the UK for the first time in Europe was a dream come true. We left, we get over to the UK, we get held in customs for about 4 hours.
Fun.
We get out of customs only to find out that we have no guitars or in-ear system or gear, that it was all left in Seattle, where we are from.
And you typically use those pieces to play your concert, right?
I typically like to use guitars to play guitar live. That's typically what I prefer.
It's an important component of the sound.
And especially my personal guitars that I thought I was flying over there with after being charged $1,400 for overage fees.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. So we realized that we have no instruments. We have nothing. And we have a show the next day, and then show number 2 was Download Fest.
Kind of a big deal.
Which is a very large festival for those of you who have never heard of Download. We were going to play the same day as Iron Maiden, which was
no big deal.
Really, really cool.
Huh.
And we had no instruments. And so basically we had to source some. We had to beg, borrow, and steal some gear. Part of the gear showed up the next day, but still half of us were playing on borrowed instruments. And we learned an important lesson that day, that your gear can't matter.
It can't. That's the thing about it. Yeah. It's like, you think it does matter because we all have our personal favorite guitars, amps, whatever, and you become very attached to them. But then sometimes things don't really go according to plan. So you're playing guitars that you're not familiar with. They're not set up to your liking.
Nope. Borrowed gear, rented gear. The whole point of the show before Download was to kind of calibrate and dial in settings and patches and all the rented and borrowed gear, and we had no time for that.
Dude. And you did eventually get everything back.
We did. 4 or 5 days later.
Whoa. So you had to do like multiple shows on unfamiliar gear.
Yes.
So it's kind of familiar by the end of it.
Honestly, yeah, it was a nice experience, getting to play something else and knowing that you could then be comfortable doing that again if God forbid, if it happened.
Yeah. Dude, I'm glad that you're able to adapt to that and that you're prepared for that, because me years ago would not have been comfy with that whatsoever. I used to be kind of that guy that could only play if it was on my stuff with my settings, my string gauges set up to my taste and stuff. And I got to this point where, like, especially doing like sessions and doing like fly gigs where you have backline and you just show up and you use whatever is there because you can't fly with your favorite 100-watt head.
Yes.
You just use whatever's there. I had a couple of experiences where I showed up and kind of played like a chump because it wasn't my stuff. And it kind of made me so mad with myself that I was like, I'm so tired of only being able to play on my stuff.
Right.
Whenever I get home, I'm going to set up a couple of my guitars to, foreign specs. It's got unfamiliar string gauges on it, higher action than I like.
Right.
And I like to practice on that stuff. That way I'm always prepared.
Right. I think that's pretty genius actually, setting up stuff specifically to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's also something that I saw Jack White say something about. He liked the struggle of his plastic guitar he used to play
Yeah.
in the White Stripes. He liked it feeling wildly different from night to night, depending on how the neck was feeling because it's plastic.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? That seems. I get it,
It keeps you like engaged.
but
you
that
know?
seems
Keeps you
so
from falling
wild to
asleep
me.
behind the
Because
wheel.
when I'm playing a show, the last thing I want to think about is anything gear related.
Totally.
Because stuff that goes wrong with gear is the most preventable things. Batteries dying in your pack, strings breaking, all that stuff. But I don't want to think about any of that stuff if I am playing a show because it's such a weird split of conscious and unconscious. I don't know. An unfamiliar guitar is like almost a worst case scenario for me of playing, especially like I play a Strat style bolt-on neck, going from that to a set neck Les Paul style,
Yeah.
short
I was
scale.
gonna say the scale length, your muscle memory is even different.
Oh man,
Playing on a different
so
scale
wild.
length, right?
Yeah,
But you got to be prepared for that stuff.
yeah, you do.
So, like, whenever you're getting ready for a tour and you're running through your tunes at home, do you ever like try to practice these on unfamiliar kind of settings, or maybe even not necessarily the kind of amp that you typically use, just so you're prepared for the nightmare backline situation?
I actually try to practice on stuff that I would never use live.
There you go. Yeah.
Always. Let's try the Marshall. Let's try the Friedman. Let's try the Soldano. Let's try the Model T. For fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
Seeing what you can get away with and what you can pull off and kind of knowing your gear.
Yeah.
But I use a Fractal Axe Effects live, so I don't get the opportunity to have actual amplifiers. So I think that for me that's fun of using actual amps for my stuff.
Yeah. I totally get that. Because, like, live, depending on the gig, of course, but like if it's totally up to me live and I'm using like my Friedman BE and I've got delay and reverb in the loop and it's all sauced up, it's like that's my comfort zone. But like at home, whenever I'm practicing stuff, it'll be like straight into like a dual rec, no sauce, nothing, just unforgiving. Because if I can make that sound good, I'll sound great when I'm on my rig, you know?
Right.
It's not fun, but
You recently, you had a little mishap.
that
as well.
I did. And again, this is where the preparedness really comes into play here, because nothing ever goes right. You can always prepare to be surprised.
I was bravo, because you actually had a backup. I'll let you tell the story.
Thank you.
But you actually had a backup,
Yeah.
which is, I don't think a lot of people do.
Yeah, and you should always have a backup, because I was doing a gig recently with my beloved Friedman BE 100, which I love so much.
Bless it.
And I don't even know what the problem with the amp was. I think it was just a dirty speaker jack or something was the problem, because you know how it is. It's like dirty venue floors. You set a cable down, it's going to collect some junk, then you put it in the jack, and it doesn't take much to mess up those connections.
I play clean venues, so I wouldn't know how that sounds.
Ooh, fancy. So like I get on stage, fire the amp up, and it's like first note of first song, just dead. Just nothing coming out. Again, later on I figured out, I think it was just a dirty jack or something. It wasn't like a busted tube or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I just happened to have brought my little tiny, the Friedman BE Mini that I tried for the first time here at Sweetwater last year and was just blown away by.
Great amp.
Yeah, because it's like 3 pounds. You can fit it in a backpack. It's like you should always have that on hand.
If you wore Jinkos, you could put it in your pocket.
You could put it in your pocket then.
Literally. Yeah, it would be
They're
amazing.
coming back.
You know what? They are coming back. Anyway, not to get off topic, I apologize.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But dude, like I, just had to really quick rush and plug my guitar into that instead, crank it up, and just go. I later switched my effects loop over, so I still had delay and reverb in the loop, but like no pedals out front, nothing. Just playing on this little tiny, what are they, 30 watt?
Something like that, yeah.
Comically small amp. And let me ask you this, how many people in the crowd do you think came up and said, man, your tone wasn't as good as usual tonight?
Probably 1, 2.
Goose egg.
Nothing.
None. Like even at the end of the show, the sound guy came up and he was like, man, you guys sounded great tonight. Everything went great. And I was like, dude, I wasn't even playing my rig. I was like, I was playing that all night, pointing the little tiny head. And he's like, wait, all night? You're playing that? I was like, yeah. But, again, it doesn't feel the same as that big old 100-watt
No,
head
I mean,
that I'm
it's
used
not going to, but
Yeah. But you got to be ready for stuff like that.
I always think of the differences between the something like that is like you have your Lunchable, you have your little Lunchable, peel back, there's a little mint, there's a couple of things of turkey and a cracker, and then you have an actual home-cooked meal, which would be the full-size Friedman amp.
Yeah.
Sometimes the Lunchable just has to work, man.
Sometimes you got to make it work,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
But especially, too, like if you want to do, the kind of stuff that we're doing here this week, where you get taken out to Sweetwater and you get guitars and amps put in your hands, and it's like, here, do the thing you do to make this sound good.
Yeah, do it. Make it sound good.
I couldn't have done this 15 years ago when I was just comfy playing on my stuff at home. I couldn't have done this.
Were you ever weird about your stuff back in the day about people touching your guitar?
Yeah,
I was
totally.
always weird. I just remember this. I had a friend remind me the other day, like when I was a young person, I used to be really weird about people touching my guitar. But thinking
Back
back,
in covered wagon times.
yes, back in the 1800s when I was started playing guitar.
Your Spanish guitar.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. That's the move.
It was I was super weird about people touching my guitar at all,
Yeah.
even just looking at it. But
Yeah,
thinking
don't
back,
even look at it.
I don't know if that was because it was literally my only guitar
Yeah.
that I had. I don't know why, but I remember distinctly being really weird about that.
I think that for me, it was totally like a combination of, a couple of things. Partially because my older brother would sometimes pick up my guitars while I wasn't around, and he has like that alien acid sweat that just destroys a set of strings in like moments,
Does he play?
Yeah, he played
Oh.
before I did.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, I'd have like just used all my allowance for a pack of strings or whatever, put some new ropes on the guitar. I love that new string tone.
Yeah.
And like my perspiration or whatever, it doesn't eat strings at all.
Mine doesn't either.
Isn't it great?
It's great.
I feel so bad for the people that can't keep new strings on their guitar.
I have a couple of buddies who are like, they can play maybe an hour, 2 hours tops.
Yeah.
On a set of strings.
They're toast.
They're toast.
Yep.
Ugh.
Dude, my brother can nuke them faster than that. Seriously, it's ridiculous. So I'd have just spent my money to get some strings and put them on the guitar.
Yeah.
And then, I'd pop out for a little while and come back and pick it up and the strings are just dead. And I'm like, Noah, like, don't touch my stuff. Yeah. So I think it kind of comes from that with me, but
Yeah.
I've definitely gotten over that. They're just, they're tools, honestly.
I don't care now.
Yeah. Like, I'm never going to be that guitar collector guy that buys stuff to buy stuff and not use it. What's the point of that? Do you have any pieces that you've bought that you don't even touch?
No, not really. I do have some guitars that I have bought, some like really nice PRSs that I have subsequently kind of beat up
Yeah.
by playing like a lot. Mm-hmm. I wish maybe I hadn't done that, but yeah, they're made to be played, I guess. So
I know, right?
I've just used a ton in the studio, so like I have wear marks and like where
Oh, yeah.
where your arm rests and they're starting
The
starting
volume
to,
knob. I noticed like your
Yes.
touring guitars, you got all the volume knob wear
Yeah.
and stuff. I love
Yeah.
that. That's character though, man.
I like that stuff.
I just got that Les Paul Custom from Sweetwater last year,
Ugh.
which is like my dream guitar. I've always wanted just the
Right.
black and the gold. But like to me, there's nothing like sexier in the guitar world than a Les Paul Custom that's just been ragged out and beat up and
Agreed.
toured and stuff. Like mine is pristine right now. No
Are you gonna
scratch
gig it?
on it. That's what I'm saying. It's like, when am I gonna pull the trigger and be like, I'm gonna start beating it up tonight?
Gig it.
Soon?
Gig it.
Just go ahead and rip that Band-Aid.
Just sweat all over it, dude.
Yeah.
I have a Les Paul Custom as well.
Oh yeah, you do. That's right.
But I bought it. It was toured for a decade from the same guy. I had lots of conversations with him. It's been very, very played, never abused, and it is. I mean, all the gloss is gone,
Yeah, man.
and all of the patina is all just proper. Oh, it's so good.
But it like looks better because of that. It looks like a rock and roll
So good.
instrument, man.
I love it.
That first ding that I get on it, it's gonna hurt. I'm gonna be like, oh, I scratched it. But then after that, it's like, all right, cool. Now I don't care anymore.
So most of the dings for my guitars have happened in the studio.
Right.
I
Same.
just-
Yep.
Drives me nuts. I have a Music Man baritone Axis.
Yeah.
And it has a big gouge in the top on the side of the body that really just happened a week ago. I have a replica Ghostbusters plasma string. proton pack
Sick.
thing, and it was hanging in the middle of the night. It fell off the wall and onto the guitar.
No.
Yeah.
Betrayed.
Oh man, I was like, I didn't even realize until like 2 days later. That's what it did it.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks.
So speaking of broken guitars, have you ever broke a guitar either in the studio or on stage?
I just had my first experience with this last year, and I almost threw up. Like, I was so close to like crying and throwing up at the same time.
On stage.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was a nightmare, dude. So I had one of my beloved Sir guitars that I use, which are just incredible.
Amazing.
They're all like one of a kind and stuff too. I gig with them because again, they're tools. Like,
Absolutely.
they're meant to be used. So it was like a 2-band show. At the end of the night, both bands like got together and did a few songs together. So at the end of the night, there was like tons of people clearing off stage. Everybody's, on the move to get off stage. And I'd taken the guitar and put it back on my stand with the cable still plugged into it.
No, you
Never
can't.
again.
Do not leave your cable plugged into your guitar.
Don't.
Don't do it. Ever.
Learn from your Uncle Ben. I did it once. I'll never do it again.
I don't like where this is going.
And I'm glad I don't know who did it, because there's so many people filing off stage. It could have been anybody. But somebody's foot just happened to catch that cable. I was giving picks away to somebody in the front row that wanted them, and I just hear this sickening thump. You know how sometimes like you hear the noise and you're like, I already know what just happened. I don't want it to be that, but I already know. And yeah, I turned around, and where somebody had kicked the cable, it knocked it off the stand and just snapped the headstock off. I mean, just obliterated it clean off. I know. Thankfully, because it's a bolt-on and stuff, and Sir does like lifetime warranty and all that jazz, they're fixing it. They're making a new neck for it. So that's not an issue. But that's not the case most of the time. I felt so sick, man. Again, it's like I just said, yeah, these things are tools, they're meant to be used. But when it's the result of something dumb that could have been avoided, and you're like, if only I'd have unplugged that cable, this wouldn't have happened. That's when it hurts the most.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a bad experience.
That sounds like a bad experience. I don't like that.
Have you ever broke anything on stage like that?
This last tour that we did, we had I was playing, and our social media guy went to run across the stage to get a shot of our drummer or something like that, and he was unaware that I draped my mic cable around the side, on the outside of my guitar boat where I keep right behind me, because we have to do a couple of switches.
Yeah.
And my backup was in there as well, and he caught it, and he thought he cleared it, but what he didn't know is he pulled my guitar boat that was right next to me forward and down, and my guitars all spilled out all over the stage mid-song.
No.
And I can't do anything.
Just had to keep a straight face.
Had to
You're like,
keep a
don't
straight
cry,
face.
don't flinch.
And all of them just go, 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 go. And like you see these $3,000 Music Mans face down, sliding all over the stage. It was horrible.
But
all the latches were
headstock
bent.
breaks
No
or anything?
headstock breaks. No, just boo-boos.
Dude.
Just boo-boos and out-of-tune guitars. I can handle that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I had people like Instagramming me afterwards. We saw the guitar spill. It's on video somewhere, and
Dude, I gotta find that.
It's violent.
I just wanted to see if you flinch.
I felt it before I saw it, and I was like, I know what that is, because you feel the g-g-g-g.
Prepare to be surprised.
That's right.
That's the moral of the story that we're talking about today, man.
That's right.
Never get addicted to any particular piece of gear. Like, I don't think that you should ever make it to where your entire set is catered around, I have to have this one thing to do my thing.
Nope.
Because if that thing goes away, you ain't got no thing.
Songs matter. Gear does not.
That's it.
That's it.
So there you go, guys. At the end of the day, it's indeed the music that matters, not the gear.
But if you do want more gear, head on over to sweetwater.com for all of your gear needs.
That would be the place to do it. Good call.
Yeah.
I've been Uncle Ben.
I've been Fluff.
Thank you guys so much for watching our Backstage chat.
Yeah, good. Thank you.